Sign up for the Agranak Studios newsletter at agranak.com. As I was searching for what I was going to do this week, I really wanted to design a one-shot, and the Bastellus really inspired me.
Oh yeah? What about it?
Well, it's that whole dream thing. I mean, I'm even wearing my Freddy Krueger shirt today. My sweater, because that's the vibe I'm getting here. Even though it's not really a major combatant, it is very elusive.
Well, let's go through and read it.
All right.
Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss an upload. And join the conversation over at the Agranak Cult Discord.
Just gotta put on my glove here.
Really?
Yeah. So, let's take a look at the Bastellus. The Bastellus is a haunting undead creature that comes in the night to feed upon the dream energies of helpless sleepers. In many cultures, it is known simply as a nightmare or dream stalker. The Bastellus is seldom seen, for it only appears in the presence of sleeping beings. Reports of the creature's true form, however, have been gathered from those who came across one while it was feeding. From the accounts, it is known that the Bastellus looks like a hulking humanoid shadow, utterly featureless. It feeds by placing its outstretched hand upon the victim's brow. When feeding, it always has its head thrown back as if it were in ecstasy, for the absorption of dream energy causes it great pleasure.
Wow, that's kind of gross.
Yeah, no recorded attempt to communicate with the Bastellus has ever succeeded, so its language, if any, is unknown to mortal man. It is assumed, however, that a Bastellus can impart messages to others through manipulation of their dreams. For many incidents have occurred in which previously unknown facts were available to someone after a visitation from a Bastellus.
Wow, that gives you so much information.
Yeah, you're not going to find this sort of depth in like some of these rules light OSR things, which I find if you actually read through everything here, you can get a ton of ideas and inspiration and different angles that you probably could not have done otherwise.
Yeah, it really is cool, especially since it goes into combat.
Yeah, right here.
And then if you flip the page, also the habitat, society,
Yep.
and the ecology.
Yeah, so there's a lot that goes into each one of these monster entries. So let's continue to read here. Combat. The eerie and spectral nature of the Bastellus makes it largely invulnerable to physical harm. Only magical weapons of +3 or better can strike the creature, and even they do only half damage to it. Like most undead, it is immune to charm, sleep, or hold spells. Spells that depend on cold, heat, or electricity to inflict damage cannot injure Bastelli, and as they have no physical bodies, they are immune to all manner of poisons. Holy water and the like cause no damage to a Bastelli, but they can be turned as if it were a ghost by powerful priests and clerics. A dispel evil cast directly at the Bastellus is the only sure way to destroy it, and even then, it is allowed to save versus spell to avoid annihilation.
Wow, this thing is nuts, man.
Yeah, notice that the XP value is 6,000, but the hit dice are only 4.
Well, you're rolling d8s for the hit dice, so that's an average of 16 hit points. That's not a lot.
No, because it's got all of these immunities here. You have to go on this basically mystery-seeking adventure to try and figure out how you can destroy this guy. And then once you can finally pinpoint it, then it's not going to take much to actually destroy it.
Oh, I get it. So it's really balancing it out if you can gather all that information and destroy the monster.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, it says, the Bastellus can move about in dimly lit or shadowy places without detection 95% of the time. Even persons on their guard for a dark form moving through the shadows have little hope of spotting the horror. A percentage chance equal to or higher of their intelligence or wisdom score. A protection from evil spell will prevent the Bastellus from entering a given area or attacking a given individual. but it is not harmed by these spells. A negative plane protection spell is fully effective against a Bastellus and also breaks the creature of its desire to feed again on the same victim, although it may do so out of chance or proximity. It is no longer compelled to do so, as described below.
This thing is a major menace.
Yeah, couldn't have said it better myself.
I can see why you were inspired by this thing.
Yeah, it is powerful as hell. But in designing an adventure using a Bastellus, you'd really want to give a lot of opportunity for research and discovery and even encountering it to try and figure out some of these things so that you have a clue as to how you can destroy it. But I don't think I would give the answer outright unless you were doing a one-shot or something.
All right, that's good advice.
If it desires to move into an area with awake beings in it, the Bastellus can employ a powerful sleep spell that affects all beings within 50 feet. A saving throw versus spell is permitted by those in range, but the roll is made at a -4 penalty. This spell is so powerful that elves are 30% resistant to it, and half-elves are only 10% resistant.
Wow. Yeah, this thing is powerful, man. That's crazy.
Once all the persons in a given area are asleep, the Bastellus picks out a target and moves in to feed. Since the sleep it induces in others is a magical and dreamless one, it does not attack those who have been affected by its power.
All right, finally some relief, huh?
Yeah. Thus, only someone who was asleep before its spell was cast will be targeted. In addition, the Bastellus is unable to feed on the spirit essence of elves and half-elves, so they are safe from its preying as well.
All right, starting to get into some weaknesses, finally. But you're kind of screwed if you don't have elven blood.
Yeah. To attack, the Bastellus moves close to its victim and reaches out an arm to touch the target's brow. As soon as it makes contact, the dream of the sleeper becomes twisted. Whatever scene he or she might have been imagining turns dark and evil. The only common thread in these visions of terror is that they will be drawn from the darkest part of the dreamer's mind, the id.
Wow, getting into psychology, huh?
Yeah, and will reflect his or her greatest fears.
Yeah, that is rad.
Yeah, pretty much Freddy Krueger. Yeah. For example, if a paladin is worried about his chaste love for a sweet princess and is dreaming of an evening rendezvous with his cherished one, he might find that she has suddenly turned into a sultry temptress. Her actions might be so alluring that in his dream he cannot turn away from her, even though he knows that to yield to her invitations spells certain doom. In the end, he is forced to embrace the twisted mockery of his betrothed, and his soul seems to fade to absolute darkness.
Yeah, I hate paladins.
Why is that?
'Cause a paladin killed my mother.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, all paladins can just fuck off and die.
Yep, I can see how you feel that way. All right, let's go on. When the dreamer awakes, he feels shaken and distraught. The night's sleep proves to be unrestful, and the memory of the horrible dream burns in his mind. No hit points are recovered from a sleep interrupted by a Bastellus, and the character will awake too disturbed to be able to memorize new spells or perform any act of great mental concentration. In addition, the victim will find that he has been reduced by 1 level.
Damn.
Yeah, due to the feeding of the dark creature.
Holy crap, man.
Yeah, this is a badass. Any being reduced to below level 0 by the preying of a Bastellus will die in its sleep, seemingly of a heart attack. If the body is not destroyed via cremation, immersion in acid, or similar means, its spirit will rise in a number of days equal to the number of levels it lost to the Bastellus. Thus, a 14th level wizard would rise up in 2 weeks. The new spirit is also a Bastellus, but it has no connection with the monster that created it.
Wow, that is awesome, dude.
Yeah, it's pretty deadly. Pretty, dark and twisted for sure. If caught unawares, The Bastellus can be forced into actual combat, although it will always try to flee from such confrontations. In these cases, it is very limited in power, for its sleep spell does not work on those who can see it. The creature has other powers to enable it to escape in such cases, but they are not nearly so fearsome as its energy-draining dreams. The Bastellus can invoke an area of darkness within 50 feet of itself, often to cover its escape, and pass through any solid object without resistance.
Wow, what an elusive creature. I've found that in my games that any elusive creature that can pop in, do some damage, and then run away really pisses off the players.
Yeah, that's been my experience as well. It becomes frustrating, and so at the final blow, there is a moment of catharsis for the players, if not the characters as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Should the Bastellus be forced to attack, it does so by moving through a living being, requiring a normal attack roll to do so. If the Bastellus can do this, the victim must save versus spell or be driven into an extreme state of paranoia. The victim's companions become, to him, his greatest enemies, as drawn from his own subconscious by the touch of the Bastellus, and he will attack them without mercy. Although these delusions last only 1d4 rounds, the chaos that usually ensues during this time provides more than enough cover to allow the Bastellus to escape.
That's a crazy attack.
Really just turning others into your temporary guard, basically.
Yeah, and from within the party.
Yeah. If the Bastellus is reduced to 0 hit points, but is not destroyed by the casting of Dispel Evil, it will rise again to plague the world.
So you definitely need that spell, huh?
Yeah. When the last blow is struck to the creature, it will seem to boil away into nothingness, like the cloud of steam rising above a pot of boiling water.
Nice visual.
At the same time, it throws its head back and unleashes a telepathic cry of anguish and pain that causes all within 50 feet to make a fear check. If the creature was in contact with a victim when it was struck down, the shock of the dreamer is so intense that he or she must save versus death or immediately be slain.
Holy crap, man. Like, take as many out with you as you can if you're going down. This is awesome.
On the next night, the Bastellus will rise again at the place where it was first created to renew its dreadful preying.
Wow. So you definitely need that Dispel Evil spell, and you need to cast it at the right time when it's at 0 hit points.
Yeah. The Bastellus passes the day in a pocket dimension of shadows and nightmares. See below. Because of the regenerative effects of its slumber here, the creature is always returned to full hit points before the coming of night, and its return to the prime material plane.
So it's got the idea of a returning creature over and over again. This monster kind of has everything, doesn't it?
Yeah, everything except for that major combat ability that's inherent. It has to turn somebody else into its thrall, basically.
Yeah, crazy. This might be my new favorite creature for Halloween.
Yeah. Habitat and society. The Bastellus is drawn to places where large numbers of people dwell and thus dream. Because of this, it frequently appears in cities and towns.
Makes sense?
While in a given location, it seeks out those who have the most vivid dreams. Usually, this includes highly passionate or motivated individuals and those rare creative minds who can find true freedom of expression only in their nightly flights of fancy. Because these people tend to be the most extroverted and well-known persons in the area, their sudden and mysterious deaths often cause quite a stir. Before long, it becomes all too clear that some foul creature is stalking the citizenry and feeding on those who provide its fire and life.
Wow, yeah, there's your adventure right there. All baked into the monster description. Yeah, 2nd edition Monstrous Compendium. Friggin' awesome.
Oh yeah. Once the Bastellus has fed upon a given person's dreams, it becomes obsessed with that person and will return to taste his or her essence nightly until the victim dies. As soon as this fate befalls its chosen prey, the creature moves on in search of another energetic mind upon which to feast. As mentioned earlier, those who die from the preying of a Bastellus may well become one themselves. On the night that the disembodied spirit returns from the dead, it feels a burning hunger. having no memory of its past life. The spirit knows only that it must seek out the dreams, aspirations, and loves of others in order to fill the void that aches within it. Before the night is done, it must taste the dream essence of another, or fade away, never to return. Usually, this is not a problem, as the victim probably died in a city, and the spirit will reappear at the site of its death. The pocket universe in which the Bastellus passes the day is believed to be associated with an unusual conjunction of planes. Many luminaries have postulated that it must contain aspects of both the negative material plane and the dreaded demiplane of Ravenloft, as these creatures are encountered only in the latter realm. Such an explanation seems likely.
Wow, I love all the detail. Like, yeah, it can be overwhelming if you're OSR minded with that rules light, but you would have to go through and kind of bullet point exactly what you want to use in all of this, but that's pretty easy to do and something you should be doing anyways when making adventures.
Yeah, for sure. And to me, this could definitely be a reoccurring villain that they slowly figure out how to deal with it. It could be a really long adventure, or give them all the information really quickly in one shot.
Yeah, cool.
All right, last section, ecology. There are those who would agree that the Bastellus is a creature from beyond the grave and therefore has no place in the biology of the natural world. In fact, there's a great deal of speculation that this is not the case.
Wow, cool.
Numerous scholars have put forth the theory that the Bastellus is actually a product of the unrecognized hopes and aspirations of living creatures. If this is true, then the Bastellus is very much a byproduct of the living world and at least nominally important to it. This debate has raged for countless centuries. However, it seems that the scholars who put forth both arguments are no closer to a resolution of the issue than they were when the debate began. The dream essence of the Bastellus, while hard to obtain, are of almost incalculable value to necromancers and illusionists in the crafting of magical items. It is said that an illusionist who uses even the tiniest fraction of such a creature's substance as a material component in the creation of an illusion will find that the images they create are drastically more vivid than they might otherwise be, making it almost impossible for victims to convince themselves they are not real.
Wow. Yeah, that just adds all sorts of other layers to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, so cool. So this is a 2-part video series talking about the Bastellus, and then we are going to look at a one-shot that I'm writing that has the Bastellus in it. And that will be available next week. That's a video I'm doing next week. And then it will be available to my Patreon supporters at the $2 tier, the Green Watchers, or above. And I may put it for sale on drive-thru. I'm not sure right now, but that is what is coming.
Wow, I'm looking forward to that video.
All right, everyone. Thanks for stopping by Agranak Studios today, and we'll see you on the next one.
Later.
This video was brought to you by the generous support of our patrons. Consider becoming a patron so you can help us make more content like this. Or get yourself a t-shirt below. Later.
All right, do this and do that and do this and do that. And watch this video.